News dump. Wow, what a week.
What a week indeed, Goo.
Yes, and before we get to our amazing, steaming, fresh first topic, let me give you a quick rundown of what has happened over this past week, Mac. We have a new champion at the box office, but it might be an old one, a huge Joker news dump. Morena Catwoman, is that a possibility? Long Dong Aussie's about to hit HBO in September. A horror director wants some spooky superhero movies. The Bat Bucket hits theaters this week. Red Hulk in 4K. We also saw an image of the Thunderbolts. We've got some rumor has it for Spider-Man 4, paydays for a few actors, TarantiNO to more Toy Stories. Denzel is mulling retirement. Let her kill the deep. In The Boys, Ted Lasso, not so fasto. Anaconda don't want none unless it's got Rudhun. And we say goodbye to one of our podcasting friends. All of that in News Dump. First on the docket, Mac, big news in the world of streaming and fast food. And you might say, this is right up my alley until you hear that it is Chic-Fil-A. They want to do a streaming service.
I don't know how you're not out of the breath, number one. Number two, Goo, yeah. I fundamentally do not understand the approach here. What does Chick-fil-A have to gain from getting into the streaming business, the streaming wars, one might say?
Do they think that if they create their own IPs and their own projects, they can then kind of market it within their fast food system?
Listen, there's a million streaming services out there. Who is Chick-fil-A going to hire to run this thing? It's just everything about this is fucking insane. And not for nothing, doesn't this also, desperation is not the word, but are they losing the chicken war here? Is that what's going on?
Oh, I think Popeye's already got that, baby. That spicy Popeye's chicken.
So maybe they're panicking at Chick-fil-A HQ.
I think somebody, and I don't know who it is, I wish that I wrote it down on X, but they had Jenna Maroney from 30 Rock saying, it's a Chick-fil-A streaming movie, Liz. You wouldn't fully understand that reference to 30 Rock, but she would always get movie roles, and Liz is like, wait, where are these?
I've seen enough of 30 Rock to understand that reference.
But that made me laugh, though, and I do appreciate when people have Jenna doing that.
Listen, I'm a big Jane Krakowski guy. Always have been, always will be.
Do you think that, so it looks like they're going to do some animated stuff, faith-based?
Oh, God. I didn't
maybe
consider that. Jesus Christ, yeah. That's not a bad guess.
That's who would star in it, yeah. News dump. Weekend box office, two of the newcomers didn't fare as well as first thought, and Alien Romulus dropped 61.4%. So, Deadpool and Wolverine was able to climb back to the top of the charts at $18.5 million in its week 5. It is now over $1.2 billion worldwide. Like I said, Alien Romulus has dropped to second at 16.2. It ends with Us just under 12 at 3. Blink Twice, a little under the forecast. They thought 5 to 10 million. It came in right in Baby Bear's Porridge at 7.3 in its opening weekend. And now let's climb down a couple rungs of this ladder to 8th place, where The Crow is perched. This is the dead crow. It's falling off the rung. It's 4.6 million.
Deadpool's going to keep making money for like another 2 or 3 weeks until it.
Well,
really
like I already told
off.
you, streaming. It sounds like it'll be, I think, the second week of September.
Okay. So this Blink Twice movie, I've heard pretty mixed reviews on. It's Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut. I am intrigued by it. The cast is great. They kind of put on a full court press with the media the last couple of weeks, so they definitely were trying to make that get propped up. But I don't know. Like, by the way, is she married to Channing Tatum, or have they just been together for? I think
they're just dating.
So I'm sure he didn't demand any money to play in the movie. But The Crow, I don't know. So when we heard about this movie, even like prior to the movie draft this year, I don't know who wanted this. I would agree that there was an avenue for a remake because it was so crassly done on a low budget in the 90s. However, the circumstances surrounding the movie and like the cult classic of it, that aspect of it, I wouldn't have gone down this road.
Can you call on me real quick?
Go ahead. Goo has his hand up.
Is it a cult classic? Because on a budget of 21 million, it made 94 million.
Yeah, it's for sure a cult classic.
It turned a profit though.
So
that's all I'm saying. I'm just tossing it out there. It made a decent amount of money off its budget, but yeah, I've heard nothing but bad, and I will, as soon as it's streaming, I will absolutely watch it.
I guess if it's that bad, I have to watch it as well, but I am not looking forward to it.
I saw one review that said it is worse than Madam Web, and the director of the original Crow reposted, and he's like, well, what are you going to do?
I can almost guarantee it's not worse than Madam Web because Madam Web got so many things wrong. I think this is probably just more offensive because they went and remade it in the first place.
Also, I do think that Bill Skarsgård does have a chance of redemption by the end of the year with Nosferatu. I rewatched that trailer again last night.
He's like Skarsgård's like 0 for 3 on the year so far.
He's having a tough year so far,
Yeah,
but I think
he's done.
Nosferatu is going to do it.
Yeah, I have got zero faith in that.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Oh boy. Variety. Tons of Joker stuff. You're already shaking your head. I'll let you handle this.
So it's not the top bullet here, Goo, but that fucking moron, Todd Phillips, just keeps digging himself a deeper and deeper grave because of what I think he's coming to realize is people have expectations. That's right. Expectations about two of the world's most famous characters, Joker and Harley Quinn. You are now introduced. First of all, a lot of people hated that first movie because you fucked up. You just shouldn't have called it Joker, but you did, and now here we are. Secondly, you're doubling down and bringing in Harley Quinn and calling her Harley Quinn, but not using anything we've ever known about Harley Quinn, which just further underscores the fact that this should not be in an adjacent DC universe. This never should have been called Joker, and it's truly disappointing to not only he somehow middled it in the worst way on both sides. Not only are we not going to get pleased as a comic book DC fan, we're also not going to get pleased as a fan of Gaga and her amazing talents in music. He's going to give us the worst of both sides. And I truly don't understand the idea of even getting Gaga in the first place if you were going to do this. And just everything surrounding this franchise is truly mind-boggling.
Do you want to know why I'm so indifferent / like I don't really care about any of this stuff?
Why?
Is because this isn't our only Joker right now.
Sure.
We're going to be getting more Joker. We're going to be getting more Batman. This isn't our only taste of this character. It's just off on its own. And I'm going to watch the movie, but I'm not jazzed about it, because it's a musical. But it also isn't. He said this is don't expect the heights.
Jazz.
He said specifically don't expect the heights. But this is like it's just off on its own. It's an island.
Confusing.
Yeah.
It's an island no one wants to visit.
He said about Harley Quinn, or about his Harley Quinn, the high voice, the accent, the gum chewing, and all that sort of sassy stuff, that's for the comics. We stripped it away.
So he boiled Harley Quinn, one of the most intriguing characters DC's ever created. He boils her down to just a voice with an accent and a gum chewer. That's essentially what and yeah, she does that stuff, but that's like not why people like Harley Quinn. It seems to me like he's never read a DC comic, and yet he's at the helm of his second straight DC movie here. And I hope this loses all of the money.
Well, he's already said that there's not going to be a third one. And what I also like is that you always hear rumors of like, oh, I bet that James Gunn would love to pull Robert Pattinson into his universe because that movie would fit in, or it would look like what he's doing. No one has ever said, Oh, I bet he'd love to pull in Joaquin Phoenix into his universe. No, it's just off on its own.
Also, every new movie Joaquin Phoenix has done in the last 2 or 3 years, more and more shit comes out about, like, how terrible of a person he kinda is, and that can't be good for his future prospects. He's apparently tried to back out of, like, each of the last 4 movies he's
Yeah.
committed to.
Is he a method actor?
Yeah, I
I
guess
haven't heard anything about that though, so maybe not.
I
Because you
guess
usually hear about that.
I mean, he's definitely a method actor. I don't know if he goes, to extremes in
Like
that respect.
he isn't Jared Leto. He isn't oh, what the
Yeah, but,
fuck?
like, is Jared so I think Jared Leto wants to be a method actor. I don't think Jared Leto
Jared
succeeds at
Leto
being a
walked
method
with
actor.
crutches while doing Morbius.
Once again, I don't think Jared Leto succeeds at being a method actor.
News dump. Morena Baccerin said at Fan Expo Canada that she wants to play Catwoman. Me? Just a quick reminder that she has worked in prior DC projects. She was in Gotham.
Where she met her now husband. I think
Oh,
the guy
that is a fun fact.
the guy that played Gordon, I think, is her
Can
real
you
life husband.
start this from the beginning and say, "Hey, Goo, I have a fun fact for you.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I need it for
Um,
social media. I need easy clips."
Goo!
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact for you. Speaking of Morena Baccarin in the show Gotham, that's actually where she met her real life husband. I believe the dude that played Jim Gordon in that show is now her actual husband. What did she play in that show?
So her last name now is OC. His name
That
is
is the guy.
Ryan from the OC, right?
That is the guy.
Yeah.
I love Morena Baccarin. I would like to see her in a Catwoman suit, so I am all in
Mm.
on this idea.
Okay, so it really depends on the age of the Bruce Wayne / Batman that they get.
Mhm.
She is at 45 right now.
She could pass for, like, 28, though.
28?
Mm. So
Maybe 17 years ago.
no, she could pass for 28.
No, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I don't think
no.
so.
No, you.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
How dare you? No, like I said, Brave and the Bold is what they've been talking about for the Batman in that universe. That would be a slightly older Batman, not like the super old, but like in his 40s. So maybe we'd see. We'll see. News dump. We are getting the Penguin soon, and the first 4 episodes of the Penguin reportedly will each be 1 hour long.
I'm not gonna say this is cause for concern, but
Because it isn't.
you need to start wondering about this series that was supposed to just be the first act of the next movie, and now it is turned into 8 episode or 6 episode, 6 hour long, 8 hour long miniseries. And that to me tells or is an indication that there might be a lot of downtime in this series.
Let it fucking bathe on me. I
Like,
hope that the next 4 episodes after the first 4 episodes are 90 minutes long.
listen, Reeves hasn't done anything wrong in 10, 12 years, so I'm cautiously optimistic. However, I can't pretend that I'm not a little worried about what we're
I've
gonna
heard
get.
some call the Batman long.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made that it's long. I think my main criticism was the final 20-ish minutes wasn't particularly great.
If this is of the same quality of the Batman with its storytelling, I don't think we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, it's HBO, it's Matt Reeves. I'm starting to question.
News up. A spooky director would love to make a spooky superhero movie. Horror director Mike Flanagan wants to make a DC movie. He has said in the past that he would love to make a Clayface horror and tragedy film. He is known for Hill House, The Haunting on Hill House, Midnight Mass, and Doctor Sleep, saying, "I've always been a huge fan of James Gunn as a person and a filmmaker. That is a universe I would absolutely love to be a part of."
I actually think so this is a love-hate thing for me. I think Doctor Sleep is one of the most underrated movies of the last, like, 7, 8 years. I thought it was actually a pretty fitting sequel to The Shining. I was pleasantly surprised at how good that movie was. However, on the flip side, I've kind of hated all of his shows. Didn't like Haunting on Hill House. I know a lot of people like that. I made it like 3 minutes into Midnight Mass. I just, the TV stuff, the Netflix stuff he's done has not been for me. But Doctor Sleep was so good that I think he might get the chance at this. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I also think with James Gunn in charge, you might get some more genre bending films because he doesn't want the same old, same old.
Yeah, no, I think there's a possibility if he's got the desire to, and he has any relationship at all with Gunn, he may actually get this gig.
And then Gunn's Superman movie, was that Brightburn?
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
produced that. His brothers, I think, wrote and directed it.
Yeah, so I mean, he's into that type of shit. He
That's
loves
true.
schlock.
That is true.
So, news dump. Speaking of Batman, this Wednesday at AMC Theaters, a Bat Signal popcorn bucket will be available for purchase, $35, in honor of Batman's 85th anniversary. And Mac, I just so happen to have this Wednesday off.
Yeah, when you messaged earlier, I thought you were like upset. I'm like, what are you upset about? Seems like it's right in your wheelhouse.
No, I was saying holy fucking ecstasy because I saw the video of the person filling their bucket with popcorn and then
Yeah.
turning it over and flashing a light.
Yeah, pretty impractical as far as popcorn buckets go, but it looks cool.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, looks really cool. Where are you gonna put it?
I don't know. I have no room for anything.
Might be a work desk thing.
Ooh, I'd be mocked a lot by my higher ups.
Yeah, but then you could just keep eating popcorn at work.
I could just
And
I could eat a lot of popcorn at
popcorn.
work. News dump. We got our first look with clarity at the Red Hulk.
I don't know what more there is to say about this because I'm pretty ignorant to the Hulkiverse. I don't know much about the other Hulks other than regular Hulk, and even then, I don't know much about the regular Hulk. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm at the point now where we get with every Marvel movie, like, you don't need to show me anymore. I'm gonna go see the movie. There's really nothing more you can show me that's gonna get me excited for this movie.
Harrison Ford also explained why he joined the MCU, saying, I have watched other actors, brilliant actors, have a wonderful time. I am not a brilliant actor, but I thought I might want to have a good time.
He's an old man. He's got to enjoy what he has left in this life because I don't think he's long for this earth.
No, but also, we just saw Waterworld again last week, and we saw what Kevin Costner gave us with the Harrison Ford archetype of like what a great leading man character should be. Like, and he was nowhere close to what Ford has given us many times.
Yeah, because Harrison Ford can pull off the cool dickhead, and Kevin Costner cannot. He's
No,
not.
what I'm saying
capable.
though is that like I think Harrison Ford deserves more credit. Like,
Okay.
is that everyone, especially from like mid 80s through like the next, like until we got to Brendan Fraser, where like Brendan Fraser fucking nailed it in The Mummy. But like they tried to do that in every single movie and no one came close to the effortless coolness that Harrison Ford pulls off.
You had 3 Star Wars movies, 2 Indiana Jones movies,
3.
and Blade Runner all within like a 10-year
Oh.
span,
Mhm.
and he sort of set the mold for that sci-fi, fantasy, adventure, cool character, badass character that I don't know what half the movies ever made since have tried to copy. So he obviously is one of the greatest actors there's ever been, whether he likes to admit it or not. He's sort of like he was kind of Tom Cruise-ish before there was Cruise. He kind of like played a very similar character in everything. It's not like we've asked him to do crazy shit, although he is in some pretty cool movie, like even like Air Force One. It's almost just an older version of all the other characters he played. Like, I don't know. Harrison Ford is pretty much going to play Harrison Ford the same way Tom Cruise plays Tom Cruise.
News dump. Also got a still from the Thunderbolts. I guess there is a bootleg copy of the trailer floating around online. I haven't seen it. Have you?
I have not.
Okay, so we did see a still of the Thunderbolts asterisk in an elevator, and Bucky Barnes has a goatee.
Asterisk.
What did I say?
Second S. There's a second S in asterisk. It's not a fun word to say. Goo, I am more intrigued by this movie than Captain America.
Mhm.
However, I also think this has a greater downside than Captain America because I don't know if we really need any more of any of these characters.
So we pretty much know because they've told us all the reveals in the Captain America movie. What reveal do you think is a possibility in this movie?
That's a good question. I actually haven't really thought about that. And there is a pretty good there might be a nice reveal in here or something they're doing in
Mhm.
this movie that we're really not expecting. I am looking forward to Florence Pugh, having more of a role in the MCU, but other than her, I don't really need any of those characters. So it's an up and down feeling for this one.
On the Weekly Planet podcast, they were discussing and speculating possibly us finding out who bought Avengers Tower in that movie.
Yeah, I actually would be surprised if we don't find that out in Captain America as well. I think that this whole fallout from the prior, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies, we're really gonna feel in these next couple movies.
Could it be Willem Dafoe?
I doubt it. I highly doubt
I'm
that.
not even saying Green Goblin. I'm saying
Oh.
like the actor Willem Dafoe. Speaking of Spider-Man, news dump. Rumor has it from Web Sleuther. That's what I said right there because it's a Spider-Man thing. Daniel Richman. Spider-Man 4 is expected to hit theaters on July of 2026. That's good. And the movie is likely a multiverse movie. That's bad.
Yeah, so this is I don't blame either side here, Marvel or Sony, because I totally understand what's happening here. Sony is clinging on for dear life to their last ditch effort for these Spider-Man movies in their universe. And on the flip side of that, the original script for the last Deadpool movie, the Deadpool 3, centered around Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And that was going to be a multiversal event involving, the anchor beings, and that obviously evolved. So I wouldn't be surprised if a portion of that story gets repurposed into this movie. And there's just really no way you can avoid that because of Sony's influence, I think.
Sony's like, hey, we've got Morbius. I think we have the Vulture. We have Madam Web. We've got Craven. You have to fight them.
I will say, as a
Venom.
positive, Andrew Garfield seems like he wants to do this, and I think Andrew Garfield is amazing. So I am I am leaning towards in on that because I'm okay with him still pursuing this, sort of Spider-Man stuff.
I don't really want another multiverse movie, especially in 2026.
Cool. I hate to break it to you, but I think every Marvel movie that's going to be in this MCU story is going to be a multiverse movie.
I wanted a street level Spider-Man. This is the opposite.
I think you would get that in a show. He might pop up in a show. I don't know if they're just going to do a straight up street level Spider-Man movie because of how popular he is and because of how many things will have taken place by then.
Also, this scooper, I was trying to find his accuracy rate. On Deadpool and Wolverine, this is all I could find. He actually hit 71.4% of his rumors. He had 21 claims, 13 trues, 4 falses, and 4 unconfirmed.
Yeah, he's a pretty popular tweeter. He obviously very clearly has a couple sources in Hollywood. I don't care for him though because he puts all his shit behind a paywall, so you can't he never tweets out the actual stuff. He'll just months later be like, "Oh, I had this in March." Cool, dude. I'm not paying to see it cuz you can get it for free elsewhere.
News Dip.
Wait,
Goose juicy six pack. Uh, uh,
News Dip. Well, we got some White Vision news. It will be the third of a 3-part trilogy. That is WandaVision, Agatha, and now this. Possible returns rumored is Scarlet Witch, and then confirmed is Ultron.
It seems like when White Vision disappeared in the WandaVision finale, they had no real plan for him, and I think that's been confirmed by 3 years later. There's still no definitive plan for him.
What
I
year was
am in
WandaVision? What year was that?
2021.
What
I
year are
think.
we in now?
I might have been. No, yeah, it was 2021, I believe.
Time flies.
I I am intrigued by that character still floating around because it's a very powerful character, but we don't have an attachment to that character, so I think they do have to kind of jazz the series up. I'm okay with like an Ultron return because in my mind, you can't really kill Ultron. His physical form you can, but like an AI is sort of like an idea. You can't kill an idea.
He's like
You
Pinocchio. He
you
has no
can
strings to hold
keep
him
it
down.
down, but you can't really kill it. So I'm okay with that sort of thing. You sort of also have to bring Scarlet Witch back because the way she went out in Multiverse of Madness was just phooey. It was terrible.
It did stink. News up. Oh boy, we got this rumor, this report from, I'll assume, someone like THR or someone of high esteem like that. But RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., for him to play Dr. Von Doom, Marvel is paying him $100 million for the two movies, and he could make upwards of $200 million for starring in the films with box office incentives.
Good. We've seen a number of bad sports contracts over the years, and I'm always a proponent of pay for future projection and not what they've given
Yeah.
you in the past. And this might be an instance of them paying for what he's done in the past because I'm still not convinced him as Doom is the greatest idea. But in order to get him to return, this is the price you sort of have to pay. So they've signed a veteran free agent who has promise, but his best days might be behind him. That's for sure.
Let's see if they try and Bobby Bonilla this contract. But also, I would assume for him to hit the 200 million, if it's box office incentives, like each movie would have to go over $2 billion, right? Something
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
sure
Like
there's
something crazy. Like it can't just be
there's like
1
a
billion.
escalator on it, I'm sure.
Like it has to be top 5 all time in box office receipts or something like that.
Yeah, there'll be a qualifier on it.
He has to have 75 receptions. 13 receiving touchdowns.
I always
I'm
love
not
that.
talking all around touchdowns.
Week
receiving.
17, week 18 of the NFL season. Those people that stay in the game until they get their one touchdown or their 3
Yeah.
catches. It's awesome.
He's going to be at the end of the movie, just like he'll just keep on talking. He's like, I'm getting paid per word. I have to get to 200 words to get an extra $50. Like, RDJ, you've already made $100 million. I want $50 more. News Depp. Speaking of money, via the New York Times, for Apple TV Plus's Wolves. That's a movie, and that's plural of a singular, which is being released on September 27th. Brad Pitt and George Clooney, who are both starring in the movie, were each paid $35 million. And John Watts, he's been paid $15 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's Pitt and Clooney. They're not going to get out of bed for nothing. You got to pay these fucking guys. They're legacy actors at this point. I mean, Clooney's best days are probably behind him. Pat, every time you see Brad Pitt, he's still amazing. I'm very intrigued by this movie. We talked about this a little bit during the movie draft. This should be really good because the premise is fun. Those two guys look like they're having fun in the trailer. That is a lot of money, though. So if it doesn't do well,
It's a lot of money.
That is a hell of a loss right there.
That's a lot of money. And those two actors, you know who they've worked with in the past? News Up. Quinten says Tarantino to more Toy Story movies. He said that he'll never watch Toy Story 4 because the first 3 films are a perfect trilogy. The third one is one of the best movies I have ever seen. You ended the story as perfect as you could, so I don't care if it's good. I'm never watching them.
Wrong. Quinten, you're wrong. I don't know what Toy Story 3 you saw. They in fact did the opposite of what you claim they did. They had the chance for a perfect ending, a perfect ride off into the sunset. And what they did instead was backdoor fucking pilot a new child for a new trilogy. They literally did the opposite of what you claim they did. The ending of that movie is dumb. I hate it. It should have been better. I will say I did enjoy Toy Story 4, but I would have been fine with like a new series of toys, but instead they fucking gave us Bonnie. They gave us a new story with a different kid with the same toys. They did not conclude the trilogy. That didn't happen. I don't know what world you're living in.
Number one, each of these movies ends with it as possibly a good end or a new lead to another movie. They've done that with all of these Toy Story movies.
Yeah. So again, not what Tarantino said
Well,
happened.
but also, do you think Tarantino left when they were in the furnace and he's like, well, that's the end of that chapter. The toys are dead. I'm going to leave.
By the way, when did George Clooney work with Tarantino?
Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Are we playing what was that game that we were going nuts over
Yeah,
last year?
the grid game.
Yeah, the Perfect Grid.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, they've worked with them in the past. Come on, Mac.
Well, Pitt definitely has.
Newsed up. See this? You hear about this? Denzel Washington. He's mulling retirement, saying there are very few films left that I am interested in.
And to sort of echo that, he's made very few films I've been interested in for the last decade. As much as I love Denzel, another guy who basically plays himself every time, but we do love that character.
He's better
Yeah,
than that.
it's gonna take, I think, real special occasions for a guy like Denzel to act in a movie.
Equalizer 4, Equalizer 5, Equalizer 6.
I am very intrigued by his performance coming up in Gladiator 2. It looks like he's pretty cool in this movie.
I think it'd be funnier if he was retiring because he's mad that they didn't call the Equalizer 3 the Threequalizer. He's like, it was right there, and you guys all fucked it up. I have no faith in film anymore.
Yeah, there's been a lot of missteps in terms of sequel titles over the last few years. It's very frustrating.
You know what the issue is that and I'm not going to poo-poo it, but there are just maybe too many sequels.
You might be onto something.
That might be what it is. I think everything might be a sequel. News up. Hey, did you catch Donald Duck on Hot Ones?
Gil, I've been a fan of Hot Ones before it was like super popular.
Oh, cool, Mac. I've been a fan of Hot Ones since before it was popular. Oh, all right.
I couldn't be less interested in Donald Duck on Hot Ones or the idea of putting animated characters for what's his face, Baldy McGee to talk to. I'm out on this.
You're allowed to call him that, by the way.
Yeah. Sean, what's his name? What's his
Sean
last
Evans.
name? Yeah, Sean Evans. There you go.
I mean, I called it last year. I told you after Conan was on there that the show is over. Like, they can't do anything else.
I mean, that's not true, but this is not for me. That's for sure.
Actually, who was on this past year that wasn't bad? Oh, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. I like that.
Every episode's good. Every episode of that show.
The Ariana Grande one this past year was a little rough.
I was impressed with how well she did with the spice.
So do you think, because every celebrity now finishes the wings, do you think it's just them like mentally preparing to eat the wings now and they don't want to be embarrassed? Or are the wings watered down?
Oh, conspiracy theory. That's why that show is genius, because baseline, you're still watching people torture themselves via hot wings, like regardless of how well the conversation goes. So that show is always going to be good.
Because everyone cites DJ Khaled as like, I don't want to be DJ Khaled. So like people know the history of the show and they don't want to be ridiculed for it.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I could do it.
I don't think I could.
I could easily do it.
Big pussy when it comes to spice. I think I would tap out at like 5.
You had the first one. That's sweet, but it's a little too spicy for me. I think I'm done.
Like regular.
You can ask the rest of your questions though.
Standard buffalo sauce, like, makes me sweat.
Oh, jeez. News up. Oh, people were asking what other fictional characters would you like to see talk to Sean Evans. I don't want to see any.
Yeah, 0.
Unless it's like Crashmore.
Yeah, watch. Good. We'll see Ron Burgundy on there pretty soon.
Oh, I'm surprised we haven't actually.
Yeah, true.
All right. Erin Moriarty. She said that she wants Starlight to kill the Deep in season 5 of The Boys via @comicbook. Let me kill the fish guy at least, bare minimum, for God's sakes.
At least the actors are getting sick of no one dying too. I'll say that. At least they're motivated to fucking kill. So maybe it'll be a little more realistic in season 5. But yeah, I don't care who kills who. Just I want people to get killed.
I'm gonna clip that as like not even a part of that show.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna send that to everyone that you know.
Oh,
keep an eye on Mac.
Speaking of murders,
yes.
This wasn't on the news dump, but I just watched it yesterday. The Lacey Peterson Netflix true crime doc. It's 3 episodes long.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have ever seen a man more guilty than Scott Peterson. That man is so guilty. Like it's so apparent. So that happened when we were like 13 or 15, early 2000s. And I remember the case. I didn't follow it the way I follow some true crime stuff today. Like it, he is so fucking, it's incredible how guilty he is. It's like, I was stunned at how poor of a job he did.
I started that documentary at midnight. That was a bad idea because I
Mm.
fell asleep 5 minutes in.
Yeah, makes sense.
News up. Oh, do you see this great news that you're so excited about? Ted Lasso could be returning for season 4. Jason Sudeikis is expected to reprise his role. Hannah Waddingham, Brett Goldstein, and Jeremy Swift have all signed on to return. I did see that Jamie Tart will not be back for the season.
This is a show that I just didn't like as much as everyone else. At the end of season 2, I was like, I don't think I need
I
anything
did
more
the
out of
same
this
thing.
show. And season 3 came out, and neither of us watched it. I had heard it was like an okay conclusion to the show. I don't know why it's returning.
Yeah. I thought that they were trying to do like I think Sudeikis even talked about how he likes how British shows go out on top. This is a set in England, I believe.
Mm.
It definitely is. But yeah, this seems like, hey, can you guys come back?
Yep.
Come on, 12 more episodes. Let's go.
This seems like Marvel signing Robert Downey Jr.
But like, wasn't there supposed to be a spinoff off of this show? Are they going to kill whatever the spinoff was and just stick with this?
So one of the best characters from the first season, that little fuck Nate, I guess turns out to be a pretty shitty character by the end of season 3.
Yeah.
And I think the spinoff was supposed to be based around him, right? Am I wrong about that? I thought that was the case, so maybe
Him
that's
laying
why.
in the grass and hissing because he's a snake. He's a snake. News dump. Speaking of snakes, Mac.
What a transition.
Oh boy, you see this? Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in talks to star in a new Anaconda movie.
This would be a bad idea for 99% of combinations of actors, but Jack Black and Paul Rudd, I think I'm in on an Anaconda movie.
Oh, by the way, when we discussed at the end of our Waterworld episode how they should do a legacy sequel or reboot it, remake it, Glenn Powell, you said Dua Lipa for the main woman, which is okay, fine. And then we said get someone, Chris Hemsworth playing Dementis. No. Jack Black was in the first one. You let him play the fucking bad guy in this one.
So that's your tie-in to the original?
But not only that, like, and we also pointed it out, is that Dennis Hopper has the most fun that you could possibly have in that movie. Who is the actor nowadays that has he has more fun than anybody else in the world while living in Hollywood? It's Jack Black. You let him do it.
He's too likable, I think.
Hopper's pretty likable. He was Mario.
I'm saying Jack Black plays likable characters always, so it would be tough.
I just cited Mario.
Jack Black I'm talking about.
News up. I know Hopper was Mario. Jack Black was Bowser. They're two different things.
No, I thought. What?
Hopper. He was Mario in 1993.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper did not play Mario.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he did.
Oh, Bob Hoskins did. Credit to me. It's the same. All old white guys look
I
the
was
same.
real fucking confused there for a second.
I got you for a second.
I was like, what? Sarah, is there a sequel to that movie I didn't see?
And now we say goodbye to Change My Mind.
As we go on, we remember all the times we had together.
I could be right. It might be wrong.
Could be. Yeah. Change My Mind, going off the air. They've been doing that for quite a bit. They live far apart. They have drastically different schedules. I think Fryer's pretty busy with DraftKings shit. Him and Doc are doing that other book podcast. So Wes is a podcast free agent out there if anyone's looking for a podcast home.
Well, until he finds another one, he's out of our podcast chat because that's one of the rules of the podcast chat is you have to be on a podcast.
Oh, you got to boot Rossi out too.
Rossi popping up during Dork last night was unbelievable.
Yeah. If you want to tease for an episode, Goo and I were on #Dork this past week for the beginning of the top 50 movies of all time as hosted by Dork. We did 50 to 26, and Jason Rossi was in the chat as soon as we were talking trash about Jason Rossi, and it was a great moment.
No, Dennis Hopper was Bowser.
Yeah.
I know.
That's why I was confused.
That's why you were so fucking confused.
You were more confused than me, maybe? I don't know.
I was too confident. I got to say things a little less confidently.
I should have I didn't even really push back. I was just confused. Some days you're on it, some days you're not. That's just how life is, really.
Hey man,
some days you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do anything today. Today's not for me.
We are recording at 9:57, and usually, once the sun goes down, I've met my expiration point.
Yeah. You're often sundowning.
I'm a sleepy fucking boy. All right. I'm very excited for the podcast that we have coming up at the end of the week. One of my favorite movies of all time. One that I am very jazzed up to talk about because we are getting a sequel for this movie next week. And we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice at the end of the week.
I haven't seen the movie in a while, so I'm pretty interested to see how I review it. It's fun watching classics and movies we grew up on with framing it against some of the movies we've seen this year. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to do that. I enjoy it. It's a good exercise.
Oh, I forgot to put in the news here. News dump. That Keaton said that Beetlejuice will have the same amount of screen time in this Beetlejuice movie that he had in the last one.
Oh, by the way, he was on Hot Ones.
No, that was a parody. It was called Not Ones. And it was Keaton as himself interviewing Beetlejuice.
Oh, I just saw the screenshot and it looked like he was on Hot Ones, the image you showed.
No, and it was Keaton and he was drinking the hot sauce
I hope that movie's fucking good. Oh, speaking of that movie, Jenna Ortega was in quite the doozy of a music video this week.
I saw that.
It's quite good.
What is the name of the music video that you can recommend to people?
I think it's Taste is the name of
it. I think it is Taste, yes.
Sabrina Carpenter song. And in the music video, Sabrina Carpenter and Jenna Ortega pay homage to Death Becomes Her, the Goldie Hawn, and who's the other woman in that movie? Meryl Streep?
Yes.
It's a great music video.
It might be Dennis Hopper.
That's a good movie. I don't think enough people have seen that movie, by the way. That's a very good movie.
All right, so check that out. Go watch Beetlejuice. I'm pretty sure it is. What is it streaming on right now? 1 second.
It's probably on the cock.
I don't think it is on the cock. I think it's on HBO actually. Beetlejuice streaming. Let's see. Tell people where they can watch it. It is on Max. It is on Prime with a premium subscription.
So you have to pay for it then.
It is on YouTube with a primetime subscription.
All right, so it's on HBO Max.
You can pay $4 on Apple TV. You can pay $4 on Fandango. You can pay $4 on Google Play.
You can pay $21.99 on Chic-Fil-A.
Chick-fil-A opens with just 1988's Beetlejuice. Or you can borrow my DVD.
You know what? Here's the end for Chick-fil-A. Bring back Happy Meals with toys, themed toys.
I mean, McDonald's still has that.
Sure, but I guess I'm not buying Happy Meals these days. But buy the rights to some movies. Start making fucking toys for your stores.
No, what the kids want is they want to play with McNugget toys. So Chick-fil-A should make like little plastic nuggets for the kids to play with.
1,000 plastic meatballs.
All right. News dump. See you at the end of the week.
Bye.